everyone. We're Mimicker, here to introduce all kinds of knowledge, even the stuff we didn't know about. So, today we're jumping right into something really fundamental. It's the single question every single venture has to answer, right? From, I don't know, a podcast like this to a huge company.
What makes us irreplaceable? What's our sustainable advantage?
Exactly. If you hit it big, how do you stop everyone else from just piling in, copying you until, well, you're yesterday's news?
That really is the core question. And it leads us straight to this really powerful idea in business strategy.
Yeah.
The economic moat.
The economic moat.
Yeah. And our mission today for you listening is basically to give you the shortcut, the toolkit for understanding how businesses actually survive, how they build these durable competitive advantages for the long haul.
Because let's be honest, capitalism can be pretty brutal. It's that force, Charlie Munger calls it mean reversion, right?
It's the one.
Where high profits inevitably attract competition, grinding those returns back down to average,
Unless you have a defense, a structural defense. And that defense is the moat. It's the thing that protects a business from that gravitational pull towards mediocrity, you could say.
Okay.
So we're going to trace this whole idea, starting with Warren Buffett, who really popularized the metaphor, the castle analogy. Then we'll get into the specifics, the categories analysts actually use today. And finally, look at how modern giants, think Amazon or Netflix, build these dynamic defenses.
All right, let's start there then, with Buffett and the classic metaphor, the sturdy economic castle.
Right. A great business is like a castle. But crucially, it needs that wide protective moat around it to keep the invaders, the competitors, out.
Makes sense.
Buffett really hammered this home. He said the ideal investment is, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, a wonderful castle surrounded by a deep, dangerous moat. And the lord of the castle is honest and elegant.
So two parts there. The structure, the moat, and the management, the lord. That's a key distinction.
Absolutely. But focusing on that moat, that structure, was a huge philosophical leap for Buffett himself, wasn't it?
Yeah, tell us about that. Wasn't he originally more about just finding bargains?
Exactly. He started out following his mentor, Benjamin Graham. Graham was all about cigar butt investing.
Cigar butts.
Yeah, finding a discarded cigar butt on the street that has one last puff left in it. Statistically cheap. You look for companies trading way below their liquidation value. Often they were pretty mediocre businesses. Cheap for a reason.
So just pure numbers, prices everything, quality less so.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But then his partner, Charlie Munger, really pushed him towards what you might call the quality revolution. Munger convinced him, and Buffett eventually came around completely, that, quote, it's far better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price.
Okay, that's a fundamental shift. Focusing on the wonderful company part.
Right, and that meant understanding the why. What gives a company that durable advantage? Not just looking at the current price tag.
And the light bulb moment for this, the company that really showed him the power of these, hidden assets, that was See's Candies, right? Why was that acquisition such a game changer?
Well, See's Candies proved the concept of real pricing power. It was a beloved brand, especially in California. People had this emotional connection.
Okay.
So See's found they could raise prices year after year, just a little bit, and customers didn't blink. They happily paid up for the name, for the quality they trusted. That brand, that intangible feeling, that was the moat. It wasn't something you'd easily see on the balance sheet.
So it wasn't about factories or inventory. It was about the brand loyalty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that realization freed Buffett up. He started looking for companies with this economic goodwill, think Coca-Cola, Gillette, businesses whose real value wasn't just in their physical assets, but in their brand, their position in the customer's mind.
It really underscores the warning, though. Without that kind of defense, that moat, success is fleeting. You called them Roman candles earlier.
Yeah, companies that just flare up brilliantly. Maybe they have a hot product, a great quarter, but then boom, competition arrives, copies the idea, maybe does it cheaper, and the original flame just gutters out. History is littered with them.
Because a great product on its own isn't enough.
Not for long-term survival, no. It needs that structural protection. The moat allows a company not just to succeed, but to endure for decades.
Okay, so we've got the metaphor, the castle, and the moat. Powerful idea. But how do we make it practical? How do we go from this image to actually analyzing a business?
Right, that's the next step. And this is where the work done by Morningstar, particularly Pat Dorsey, became really influential. They basically codified the whole thing, breaking it down into 5 main sources of durable economic moats.
Moving from the philosophical to like an actual checklist.
Exactly. Actionable analysis. We need categories to systematically figure out, okay, does this company actually have a defense and how strong is it?
Let's get into them. What's the first source?
Moat number 1, intangible assets. These are the things you can't physically touch, but they create real value. Think brands, patents, and licenses or regulatory approvals.
Okay, brands we talked about with See's Candies, like Nike or Disney, where you pay a premium just for the name, the trust, the feeling.
Built on emotion, yeah. Then you have patents. Think pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer or Novo Nordisk. A patent gives them a legal monopoly on a drug for a set period. That seems pretty strong.
Stronger than a brand, maybe?
Well, yes and no. It's a very strong barrier while it lasts. But patents expire. And when they do, the generics flood in and prices plummet. A powerful brand, if you nurture it, can theoretically last forever.
Good point. And the third intangible, licenses.
Right. These are often government-granted barriers. Think about utilities or maybe defense contractors like Lockheed Martin. The government gives them the right or the contract to operate, and that makes it incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, for new competitors to even enter the market.
Got it. Okay, intangible assets. What's moat number 2?
Number 2 is high switching costs. This one's pretty straightforward. It's basically the hassle, the cost, or the risk involved if a customer wants to switch from your product or service to a competitor's.
The pain of switching. I feel like enterprise software is the classic example here, right?
Totally. If your whole company runs on, say, Oracle databases or uses Salesforce for CRM, switching is a massive undertaking. You've got data migration, retraining staff, the risk of things going wrong. Often, it's just not worth the pain, even if another product looks slightly better or cheaper.
It locks you in.
It really does. Or think about Apple's ecosystem on the consumer side. If you have the iPhone, the watch, the Mac, the iCloud, moving all that to Android or Windows, it's a huge hassle. That tight integration creates a really powerful switching cost, even if it's not strictly monetary.
Makes sense. Moat number 3.
Number 3, network effects. This one's fascinating. It's where the value of the product or service actually increases for each new person who uses it.
Okay. So the more people join, the better it gets for everyone already there.
Exactly. It creates this positive feedback loop. Social media is the obvious example. The reason Meta or Facebook is valuable isn't just the tech. It's that basically everyone you know is already on it. A new social network struggles because it doesn't have the network.
Right. The value is the user base.
Precisely. And it works for marketplaces too. Think Amazon or Airbnb. More sellers attract more buyers, right? But more buyers also attract more sellers. It feeds itself. Same for payment networks like Visa or MasterCard. Merchants take the card because lots of people have it, and people carry the card because lots of merchants take it. Classic network effect.
Okay, that's powerful. What's number 4?
Moat number 4, cost advantage. This is about being able to produce goods or offer services more cheaply than your rivals, but crucially, in a way that's hard for them to copy.
And there are different ways to get there.
Yeah, typically 3 main sources. First is scale. Think Walmart. Their sheer size gives them immense bargaining power with suppliers, allowing them to push for lower costs and offer those everyday low prices.
Makes sense. Volume discount, basically.
Pretty much. Second is process. Toyota's famous production system, just-in-time manufacturing, gave them a huge efficiency edge for decades, a superior way of doing things.
And the third?
Unique resources or geography. If you're an energy company like ExxonMobil and you happen to own the rights to an oil field that's just much easier and cheaper to drill than anyone else's, you have an inherent cost advantage baked in.
Got it. Scale, process, or location. Okay, that leaves one more, moat number 5.
The fifth, and maybe the most subtle, is efficient scale. This applies to markets, often niches, where the upfront costs are so massive that the market can really only support 1, maybe 2 profitable players.
So it's not that you're cheaper, it's that it just wouldn't make financial sense for anyone else to even try and compete.
Exactly. New entry becomes economically irrational. Think about cell phone towers. A company like American Tower invests billions building out a network across a region. For a second company to come in and duplicate all that infrastructure, the cost would be astronomical, and they'd likely never earn a decent return competing against the established player.
So the sheer cost of entry protects the incumbent.
Right. Or think about advanced semiconductor manufacturing, like TSMC. The cost of building a cutting-edge chip fab runs into the tens of billions of dollars now, and the technology changes so fast that massive ongoing investment creates a huge barrier. The market economics just might not support multiple players at that bleeding edge.
Okay, wow. That's a really comprehensive framework. Intangibles, switching costs, network effects, cost advantage, and efficient scale. But where do people get this wrong? What looks like a moat, but really isn't. The illusions.
Ah, the false moats. This is super important for investors, maybe the most critical part. First big one. A great product is not a moat.
Wait, hang on. That feels wrong. If I invent something revolutionary, isn't that my defense?
Only for a while. Unless you've got a rock-solid patent, that amazing product can be copied. Someone else can improve on it. Or a whole new technology might just make it obsolete tomorrow. Think about how many revolutionary products have disappeared.
Okay, fair point. What else looks like a moat but isn't?
High market share. People often point to a company dominating its market and assume that's the moat. But market share is usually just a result of past success. It doesn't guarantee future dominance. It tells you where they've been, not necessarily where they're going.
It's looking in the rearview mirror.
Exactly. And the third, false moat. Brilliant management.
Ah, yes. The Buffett quote comes to mind. Something about a manager with a great reputation meeting a business with a terrible reputation.
It is the reputation of the business that remains intact.
Yeah.
Even the smartest CEO can't fix a fundamentally broken business model or a brutally competitive industry with no structural advantages. Pouring money into a business without a moat is often just throwing good money after bad.
Any cautionary tales that really drive this home?
Oh, plenty. Kodak is a classic. They actually invented the first digital camera back in 1975.
No way. Really?
Yep. But management got caught in a competency trap. They were making so much money from film, their existing moat, that they were terrified of cannibalizing those profits with this new, initially inferior digital technology. They saw the future, but they couldn't bring themselves to build a moat around it.
Wow. And they missed the boat entirely.
Completely. And then there's Nokia. Remember how dominant they were in mobile phones? Their moat was efficient hardware manufacturing. They were brilliant at it.
Absolutely. Everyone had a Nokia.
But the basis of competition shifted. Suddenly, it wasn't just about the phone hardware. It was about the software ecosystem, Apple's iOS, Google's Android. Nokia's hardware moat became almost irrelevant almost overnight, bypassed by a totally different kind of competitive advantage.
Ouch. Okay, so moats aren't just about identifying them, but also understanding what isn't a moat and how they can erode.
Precisely. They aren't static things.
Which brings us to the modern era. Moats have had to evolve, especially with digital technology. And this leads to that really interesting debate, almost a clash of titans. Buffett's traditional castle versus Elon Musk's Starship idea.
Right. Back in 2018, Musk famously dismissed moats, called them lame.
Lame, really?
Yeah. He argued that in today's world, especially in tech, the only real competitive advantage is the pace of innovation. Relentless speed. His analogy is like a starship, constantly accelerating to outrun any potential pursuers. A dynamic defense, not a static wall.
Constant reinvention is the only protection.
That's the idea. And Buffett actually responded. He conceded, yeah, technology definitely erodes moats much faster than it used to. But he pushed back, saying the fundamental concept of having a structural advantage is still vital. And, maybe cheekily, he pointed back to See's candies as his example of a durable, low-tech moat that keeps competitors out.
So the immovable object versus the unstoppable force, kind of?
Sort of. And the reality for many successful companies today, especially the tech giants, is probably a blend of both. They need structural advantages and speed.
Good.
Think about Amazon. They use something often called a flywheel.
Okay, unpack the Amazon flywheel for us. How does that work as a moat?
It's really a combination of moats, layered together. It starts with lower prices, that's cost advantage. Lower prices attract more customers. More customers attract more third-party sellers to their marketplace. That's a network effect,
Right, more selection.
which drives more customer traffic.
Right.
That increased scale then allows Amazon to negotiate even better costs, fund more infrastructure, and lower prices further. It's this self-reinforcing cycle. And crucially, the massive scale needed for their retail business, all that computing power and logistics.
That spawned AWS, Amazon Web Services.
Exactly, which is now hugely profitable in its own right. And those AWS profits can actually be used to subsidize the retail side, allowing them to keep prices incredibly low, making it even harder for retail competitors. It's an amazing integrated system of moats.
Wow, okay. That's a complex engine. What about Netflix? Their moat feels different. It's not really about physical infrastructure or even just low prices.
No, Netflix's moat is largely built on data. It's a powerful learning effect, sometimes called a data moat. Every time you watch something, pause, rewind, rate a show, you're feeding their algorithm.
Training it.
Precisely. That algorithm drives something like 80% of all viewing on the platform by recommending what you might like next. But it goes further. They use that vast amount of viewing data to make decisions about what original content to invest in. Remember House of Cards? That was one of the first big bets guided by data insights.
Ah, so the data tells them what kind of shows will likely succeed with their audience.
Exactly. Better content attracts more subscribers. More subscribers generate more data. More data makes the recommendation engine smarter and helps them make better content bets. It's another kind of reinforcing loop, very hard for a newcomer to replicate because they don't have the decades of viewing data.
So, for a long time, especially in tech, having the most proprietary data seemed like the ultimate defense, the ultimate moat. But is that changing now, particularly with generative AI becoming so widespread?
That's a really interesting question right now. The rise of these powerful large language models, LLMs, that anyone can access via an API. I think GPT-4 might actually be sort of cracking the foundations of that old data is the unbeatable moat idea.
How so?
Well, if almost any company can relatively cheaply tap into the sophisticated AI capabilities, the barrier to creating an intelligent product or service drops significantly. Having a massive, unique data set might still be an advantage, but maybe less decisive than it was 5 years ago.
So the competitive edge shifts from just having the data to
Yeah.
how you use it.
Exactly. It seems to be shifting towards application and integration. Who can weave these powerful AI tools most effectively into their existing products and platforms? That's why big established players like Apple or Microsoft might still have an edge. They don't necessarily need to build the absolute best foundational AI model themselves.
They can just plug it into their massive existing user base.
Right. They can be fast followers, deploying new AI features across their huge ecosystems, iOS, Windows, Office, reaching billions of users almost instantly. That distribution power, that integration capability, becomes a different kind of moat, neutralizing smaller startups that might only be competing on the AI tech itself.
Fascinating. Okay, there's one more twist here. Regulation. What happens when a moat gets, well, too good, too wide?
Yeah, that's the paradox, isn't it?
Oh.
When a company becomes so dominant, often because of powerful network effects or data advantages, like Google in search or Meta in social media, the moat starts attracting a different kind of threat, not competitors, but governments.
Antitrust regulators.
Exactly. The very success and durability that the moat provides can trigger accusations of monopoly power and lead to investigations, lawsuits, potentially even forced breakups. It's like there's an upper limit. Build your walls too high, and you might provoke an attack from a force even stronger than market competition.
The sword of Damocles hanging over the tech giants.
You could put it that way. It suggests that maybe in a democratic society, there's a natural check on how wide an economic moat can ultimately become before it invites political intervention.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. Let's try and bring it all together for the listener. If they want to apply this moat framework, say, when looking at investment or even their own business, what's the practical process?
Right. It really comes down to a systematic check. I'd say 4 key steps. First, identify the source. Does this business actually have a competitive advantage? And if so, which of the 5 categories does it fall into? Intangibles, switching costs, network effects, cost advantage, or efficient scale. Or maybe a combination.
Okay, know what you're looking for. Step 2.
Assess the width. How strong is that moat? Morningstar uses terms like wide, narrow, or none. Is it a deep, dangerous moat like Buffett described, or more like a shallow ditch? How easy would it be for competitors to overcome it?
Be realistic about its strength, then.
Third, monitor for erosion. Moats aren't permanent. Is new technology threaten it? Think Nokia. Is regulation changing the landscape? Think potential antitrust action. Are competitors finding clever ways around it? You have to keep watching.
Stay vigilant. And the final step, you mentioned it earlier.
Yes, and it's crucial. Combined with valuation, a fantastic company with the widest moat imaginable is still a bad investment if you pay way too much for it. The moat analysis tells you about the quality and durability of the business. Valuation tells you if the price makes sense. You need both.
So identify the source, assess the width, monitor for erosion, and always, always consider the price.
That's pretty much the framework. It forces you to think long-term, beyond just the next quarter's earnings, and focus on what truly allows a business to survive and thrive over time.
It really does bring us back to that core tension, doesn't it? Between Buffett's fortress, the stable castle built for the long haul, and Musk's Starship, built for pure speed and constant innovation. In the world we live in now, so fast-paced, so disruptive, which is actually the bigger threat to lasting value. A technological attack that bypasses your walls, or a regulatory assault from governments worried you've become too powerful. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on the notification bell.